Hey everyone, I'm Lauren from My Something Beautiful Life, and today I wanted to talk about my planners that I'm going to be using for the fourth quarter, so October through December, at least how it currently stands right now, and just give you some updates on why I decided to go with these planners. My lineup right now looks very different than it did from the beginning of the year. All of the planners that I have today to show you were part of it, but there were a lot more of them. In fact, I think this is the fewest planners that I have used in years, because these three right here, this is it. Like, this is what I'm basically using. I have a few little exceptions that I will talk about at the end, but for the most part, this is what I use on a daily basis. So the first one I want to talk about is my sprouted planner. I went back and forth with this one throughout the year. For a while, it wasn't really clicking very well, but just over the past, I want to say month or so, I think it's been about a month, this has been exactly what I needed and has been working really well for me. So I have been using this as my main weekly and monthly planner, and it just seems to be checking off the boxes for the things that I need for my life right now. One thing that has actually been kind of fun is that I have been decorating a little bit more, and this weekly layout actually lends itself really well to having space for me to decorate and still be very functional, because I am such a functional planner. If my page is just covered in stickers, even functional stickers, I can't focus on what's really going on. I have just found that the easiest thing for me is really just putting pen on paper, but I still like my planner to look pretty, and so I've been really excited that this planner works really well for some of the stickers that I've been wanting to use, which has mostly been stickers from JoJo's Pretty Paper Shop, because I absolutely love her artwork. I've also been showing my weekly spreads more often on Instagram, so if you want to see like what I'm doing on a week-to-week basis, go and follow me over there. But I have just been having a lot of fun adding some decoration to my pages. There's my monthly, and then here's the first week of October, and then this current week. One thing I love about this weekly layout is that there is so much space for lists, which is basically just how my brain functions. So in this column, I will usually just put whatever's going on that day, any reminders I want to be aware of. And then over here, I've been writing some of the things I want to make sure get done that day. Sometimes I will plan these out at the beginning of the week, but a lot of time I will just do it as I go along. And that's just been working really well. And then on this side, I have divided up my to-do list into 3 separate categories, and then I have a notes section here. This space, I haven't used it for anything yet. I love that it's there just in case there's anything else that I decide I need to keep track of on my weekly spread. But as of right now, it's usually just blank, or I put some stickers there like here, just something like that. But this has been going really well for me, and so I definitely think I will probably be using this through the rest of the year. The next planner that I have to show you is the Passionate Penny Pincher Home Planner. So this one I'm using to keep track of all of the things that are normally in it. So if you haven't seen the home planner, I will link to the full review of it. In fact, I have a review of all of these planners I will link to in the description. But the home planner has a lot of checklists built into it for managing like all the home type stuff. So it has things like cleaning and decluttering. It also has meal planning. They have some finance pages in here, but I actually don't use those. And then another thing that I have actually been doing in this planner is that on each day, I will just go through and write some of the things that I want to get done. So I use the Sprouted Planner to pre-plan my week and just plan the things that are most important. But then what I like to do is actually go in here, and this is like my workhorse planner. So it is a little redundant, but I'm finding it actually pretty easy to use both of them. The Sprouted Planner just helps me get everything out of my head and just kind of have an overview of the whole week. Which one thing that this planner lacks is like a weekly to-do list, and my brain just needs things like that. That's why I like the Sprouted Planner, because it has, let's see, it has all of this list space on this side, and that just is what I need. And this planner doesn't have a space like that, but it does have more space for each day to write things that I want to do. And so on this one, I can actually be more detailed. Plus, one of the things that I like about it is that it incorporates all of the house stuff in here too. So I have all of my lists all in one place. So I will put work tasks in here. I have all my home things and any extra home things I want to do. Plus anything random that comes up. all of that will just go in here, and I can just put it on the day that I'm currently working on. Or like here, I planned ahead a little bit because of just deadlines and things that needed to get done. And I really just like the way these two have been working together. And then the last planner that I actually have that is like a main planner that I'm using is my Mompreneur planner. At the beginning of the year, I actually had 2 different planners that I was using for my blog and YouTube, but I have just fully transitioned over into just using the Mompreneur planner. I find that it does seem to have the space for everything that I need. There's a few reasons why I decided to use this one. One of them is that there is this huge to-do list. Part of the reason why I needed more space is because I actually started an additional business this year. And so I love this really long to-do list every month. I just divide it in half. So I'll use 1/2 for my Something Beautiful Life and 1/2 for Budget with ADHD, which is my other company. And it's been really nice having that additional room and being able to look at everything together. And then this planner also has weekly layouts. So I'm actually going to flip to this current week. I don't have a lot of interesting stuff on here, so there's probably not really anything here that I shouldn't be showing you. But what I basically do on the weekly spreads is I divide it into at least 2 sections. If I need more, I will divide it into more, but I will usually just divide it into my Something Beautiful Life and my Budget with ADHD, so I can keep track of what I need to do each day for that. And then this space down here, I actually have been using for just random notes. So this is actually something I'm doing on this day that will take up a good chunk of the day, and so I need to keep that in mind when I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do for work. And then my plan has been to use this last line down here for keeping track of anything that's going live. So if I publish a YouTube video or send an email, something like that, those types of things I want to put down here. I just haven't been very good about it. And then over on this side, I've actually just been using this for just some additional notes or things that I want to remember, kind of like a brain dump, just anything I need to get out of my head. And then another one of the big reasons why I love this planner is because at the beginning of it, it has a social media tab. So here's the tab right here, and I'm not going to show you any of the pages I have filled out, but let me see if I can find a blank one probably at the end of the year. Okay. So what it is every month it has these social media calendars. It's just an additional monthly calendar that I can use to plan out anything for Instagram. And this has been really helpful because there's just too much to do with social media to be able to keep it on the monthly calendar. This is another planner that I actually struggled to use at the beginning of the year. And it's just amazing to me how the right situation in life can just make a planner just click. So even something that doesn't work originally, sometime you may get to a point where it's exactly what you need. That's one of the reasons why I love trying out different planners, because then when I need a planner for a specific purpose, it's a lot easier for me to be able to go through the experience I've had with different planners and pick something that's going to work really well for me in that time. I'm also really excited because in the 2026 version of the Mompreneur Planner, she's actually added some really good additions like extra note pages and some more tracking pages that I think are going to be really helpful for just being able to keep more information in this planner. I already have quite a bit in here. I didn't even show you all of it. I was just trying to give you an overview of how I'm using it, but I am really excited for the 2026 version. I think it's going to work even better. And then I told you that I have a couple of other planners that I have sort of been using, and so I want to talk a little bit about that. So let me move these out of the way. Okay, so those other 2 planners are the Ashley Shelley planner and my Erin Condren life planner. I think this is the life planner, the dashboard layout. Yes, this is the new one. I've used a couple Erin Condren planners this year, and so I was trying to remember if this was the vertical or the dashboard, but this is the dashboard. So for the Ashley Shelley planner, I'm not really using it so much as a planner, but as a journal. So at the beginning of the year, I was using my Moxie Life to journal daily about just things that happened, just kind of to keep track of the important details. Not so much tracking my feelings, although a little bit of that went in there too. But it really was mostly to just keep track of important events and what day certain things happened, things like that. And I kind of fell off with that in about April. And one of the struggles I had with using the Moxie Life Planner for that is I didn't like the goal setting pages in the middle. Originally, I was using the goal setting pages too, but they kind of just stopped working for me as well, and so then they just became kind of a pain to have in there. And so what I have started doing is using the Ashley Shelley planner for that. I'm not going to show you my journaling pages right now. They're pretty basic and boring. I do plan to continue this next year, and I do want to decorate it a little bit more, but right now I'm just kind of trying to get a feel for it. But what I did want to show you is that I have been using the monthly creative spread in this planner, and I really love it. This is probably one of my favorite things about the Ashley Shelley planner. It's so unique, very different from the layout of anything else I've seen in another planner. Aside from her planners just always being absolutely gorgeous, because I mean, look at that cover. This is probably one of the things that I think sets apart her planner the most. I think this is a very intentional layout, and when you take action on the things that you have written down on these pages, I just find that it has a really powerful effect on your month. So one of my favorite parts, I'm not going to go over every single prompt here, you can pause it and read them if you'd like to. But my favorite one is, what is your biggest stressor right now? And then what action can you take to help relieve this stress? So it goes through what's bothering you, but then what can you do about it? What can you do to make it different, to change your life for the better? Same thing down here. What creates more happiness in your life? So I absolutely love this spread. I think it's an excellent way to start your month. And so I have really been loving that in the Ashley Shelley planner. And then in the Erin Condren planner, the only thing I'm really doing in here anymore is my budget. And honestly, I am planning to change that over into the Sprouted planner, because in the monthly layout, so we have the monthly calendar, but then there are these 2 pages every month, and I think I'm going to use these for my budget. It's about the same space that I was using in the Erin Condren planner. I know I actually set aside like 4 pages for it, but I haven't been using 4 pages. I've just been using 2. And so I think I could fit everything that I need to onto these 2 pages. And I just love the idea of having my budget in this planner as well. And so I think I'm going to be transitioning over into that. But at the moment, all of my budget stuff is still inside my Erin Condren planner. But right now, that's the only thing I'm still using it for. Oh, I do have like my goal pages in here. So I still use that for reference sometimes. But really, like, most of my life is in these other 3 planners right now. So that is my lineup for quarter 4. If you have any questions or thoughts, I would love to hear them in the comments below. Also, tell me about your favorite planners right now. I love hearing how you guys use your planners. So anything that you want to share about that, I am always excited to hear about it. If you're curious to see the planners that I started the year with, I think there were, I don't know, over 10, like 11, 12, 13, I don't remember. Anyway, if you are interested in seeing those, you can watch this video right here. It'll also explain a little bit about how I've been experimenting this year with different planners. And I think this is just a really good conclusion to show how I tried out a lot of different planners trying to find what works for me. And I was able to settle on just 3. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.